What if the reason your body isn't recovering the way it used to has nothing to do with age, and everything to do with the repair signal modern life keeps cutting short? Autophagy is a cellular cleanup process built into human biology. It identifies damaged proteins, worn-out mitochondria, and internal debris, then recycles them. Nobel Prize-winning research has linked it to aging, brain health, immune function, and metabolic control. Most people have never heard of the daily habit that quietly shuts it off before it even starts. So what is autophagy actually doing inside the body? Every cell has moving parts. Proteins fold and misfold. Mitochondria produce energy and slowly wear out over time. Cellular waste accumulates the same way clutter builds up in a room that never gets cleaned. Autophagy is the cleaning process. When it activates, the cell isolates damaged components, breaks them apart, and either reuses the raw materials or removes them entirely. The name literally means self-eating, but the body is not destroying itself. It is recycling itself with precision. Its importance becomes obvious when it stops running regularly. Damaged mitochondria that are never cleared begin producing less energy while generating more oxidative stress. Misfolded proteins that accumulate over time have been linked in research to neurodegenerative conditions. The cellular environment becomes noisier, slower, and less efficient, not because the body stopped working, because the maintenance cycle stopped running long enough to keep up. The body is not just surviving between meals, it is performing maintenance. And that maintenance requires uninterrupted time to actually run. Here is where the science becomes counterintuitive. For years, scientists assumed autophagy required complete fasting, no food, no energy coming in, total caloric deprivation. Then researchers discovered the body was not actually responding to the absence of calories. It was responding to the absence of a specific molecular signal. That signal comes primarily from leucine, an amino acid found in high concentrations in protein shakes, chicken, eggs, beef, and whey. Leucine activates a pathway called mTOR. And mTOR acts like a biological construction foreman. When it is active, the body receives one clear message: build, grow, store. When mTOR stays elevated, autophagy quiets down almost completely. This means the typical high-protein pattern, shakes in the morning, chicken at lunch, protein snacks throughout the day, keeps that growth signal running. From the moment someone wakes up until the moment they sleep. The cleanup crew never gets a quiet window to work. And here is the part that rarely gets discussed. Research suggests even a single high-leucine meal can suppress autophagy for several hours afterward. One protein shake at 7 a.m. closes the repair window until late morning. A second meal opens a second suppression window. The cycle repeats, and the body never finds a meaningful gap. But here is where it gets deeper. Researchers eventually found that autophagy was not simply responding to total protein intake. It was responding to the ratio of amino acids, specifically how high leucine and methionine stayed throughout the day. When those two stay consistently elevated, nutrient sensors interpret continuous abundance. mTOR stays on. Repair stays paused. But when those signals fall low enough, even without complete fasting, the body begins shifting back toward repair mode. It interprets the drop as a scarcity signal, and that opens the repair window. This is why certain plant-based proteins produce unexpected metabolic effects. Lentils, chickpeas, hemp seeds, spirulina, many contain lower leucine concentrations than typical animal proteins. The body still receives nutrition, but without the same aggressive mTOR activation. So what does this actually mean? Autophagy may not require starvation at all. It may simply require a different pattern of biological messaging, one the body is already capable of reading. If the daily eating pattern gives it the right information, there is one more layer most people never consider. When a person wakes up, the body is already several hours into a mild repair state. Overnight, insulin has dropped, leucine has cleared, autophagy has been quietly running in the background. This is where many people notice something they never connected before. That thinking feels clearest in the morning, before eating anything. That mental sharpness may not be coincidence. Autophagy in neurons helps clear damaged proteins and dysfunctional components that interfere with signal transmission. When that process runs uninterrupted overnight and into the morning, cognitive function often reflects it. Then the window closes. A high leucine breakfast sends an immediate growth signal. mTOR activates. Autophagy stops. but extending that window slightly, even with coffee or green tea, both of which appear to stimulate AMPK signaling associated with autophagy regulation, allows the repair process to continue running before the body fully shifts into build mode. Within hours, energy steadies, mental clarity extends, afternoon crashes become less frequent. Not because anything extreme happened, but because cellular maintenance finally had time to finish. There is also a layer that happens whether people think about it or not. Sleep is one of the strongest natural autophagy windows the body has access to. During deep sleep, growth hormone rises and insulin drops to its lowest point of the day. The brain also activates a separate clearance system called the glymphatic system, which flushes waste products from brain tissue, including proteins researchers have linked to neurodegenerative conditions. When sleep is cut short, that clearance process does not complete. And because overnight is when leucine and mTOR levels finally fall far enough for autophagy to run at full capacity. Poor sleep compresses the only reliable repair window most people ever give their bodies. This connects to a pattern that shows up consistently. People who sleep poorly often feel physically older than they are. Recovery slows, inflammation rises, energy becomes unstable. Research suggests part of that is cumulative maintenance that starts late, runs short, and gets interrupted before it finishes. Over days and weeks, adjusting protein timing, rather than eliminating protein entirely, often produces steadier energy, improved exercise recovery, and reduced inflammatory symptoms. This also shifts a common behavior pattern. Many people chase better health by adding more protein, more supplements, more meals. But the research on autophagy points in a different direction. Sometimes what the body needs is a window of less, not starvation, but strategic biological quiet. The long-term picture matters too. Chronic suppression of autophagy, driven by constant feeding, disrupted sleep, and high mTOR activation has been linked in research to accelerated cellular aging and reduced immune resilience. It is the kind of decline that does not feel dramatic at first. Slightly slower healing, slightly lower energy, slightly more inflammation, small signals that compound quietly over years. So the answer to the original question, autophagy does not require fasting. It requires the right signal. The body is constantly reading incoming nutrient information, deciding whether to build or to repair. Modern life keeps it locked in build mode almost permanently. Constant food, constant protein, constant abundance cues, very little biological quiet. The shift is not about extremes. It is about sequencing. Repair in the morning, build in the evening. Protect the window the body already creates overnight. Because the most powerful maintenance system in the human body does not need starvation to activate. It just needs permission to run.